is here today on the Ile Notre Dame in Montreal. The race for victory in the Canadian Grand Prix and the race for the 1980 World Championship. And the race for the championship couldn't be closer, for after 13 of the 15 races to count, Nelson Piquet leads Alan Jones by 1 point. Only Jones or Piquet can become this year's world champion, and the issue could be decided in Jones's favour today, but only if he wins and Piquet finishes third or lower. But if Piquet wins, the decision will go to the last race of the year next weekend in America, even if Jones fails to finish. So it's no wonder that there's a colossal crowd at this tough 2 3/4 mile circuit on the man-made island in the St. Lawrence Seaway. Tough because of its 19 gear changes a lap and its heavy demands on brakes. Last year, Alan Jones won, with Piquet within seconds of him in the then new Brabham, until he had to retire a few laps from the end. So they're both masters of the course, and after 2 days of practice, they're both on the front row of the grid. And there is Alan Jones, second in the World Championship. 4 wins this year, but only 3 of them to count. Second fastest in practice, and there is the man that was quickest in pole position, leading the World Championship in only his second full season of Grand Prix racing, Nelson Piquet in the Brabham Ford, the brilliant young Brazilian. It's an absolutely storybook end to the Grand Prix World Championship of 1980. So, the Canadian Grand Prix, it's a long, tricky race, and here we go into the warm-up lap. On the left, Nelson Piquet. On the right, Alan Jones. James, you know this circuit.
Yes, well, the circuit's a windy street circuit. It was built after they used the island for Expo and I think a bit of the Olympics. And it's safe. It's fairly slow, but not as slow as most street circuits. It's twisted. It's got a lot of premium on brakes, but above all, it's a hard one on drivers. Hard work physically. But ultimately, we've got the perfect setup here. On the front row, the 2 World Championship leaders, which is as it should be. So those should be the guys off first of the race. We've got 1 point splitting them. Piquet is the man in form. His car, the Brabham team have found some extra speed with the car by moving the suspension a couple of races back. Piquet has definitely emerged. He's 3/4 of a second quicker than Jones. But when you get to this stage, although Piquet is the man in form, it really comes down to the man who gets the lucky breaks, because it's too close to split otherwise.
Well, I'll tell you this, it's quite cool at Montreal, and the drivers will have to be very wary over tyres at the beginning of the race. They've just got this 1 warm-up lap to get them warmed, and you can see that a lot of them have been moving about on the circuit to try and generate some heat. There is young Mike Thackwell, incidentally. He's just qualified. He's got on to the last row of the grid, and Jody Scheckter, the world champion, has not qualified, but Mike Thackwell becomes the youngest driver ever to qualify and take part in a World Championship Grand Prix. A wonderful achievement, and he's driving in the Candy Tyrrell team. Jody Scheckter hasn't qualified, but John Watson, a man who's had a poor season, has done extremely well. He's qualified 7th fastest.
Yeah, I think I should clarify, Murray, just saying when it all comes down to luck at the end. What I mean by that is that one little breakdown, one little thing going wrong with the car for the guy who's unlucky can mean much more than speed or points or anything like that. So it's whoever can get 2 clean races now in Canada here and then in the United States next weekend who will probably emerge champion, rather than the guy who goes quicker. This is very often the way in motor racing.
Well, it seems almost unfair on the other 22 drivers in this race, but all eyes here at Montreal are going to be on just 2 men, and they're the 2 men who are on the front row. Nelson Piquet, fastest, 3 official wins. Alan Jones, second fastest, 3 official wins, plus the contentious one at Spain. But look on the left, there in the middle of what looks like a row of cars, and it's 2 rows, is Piquet. On the right is Jones. On the left, in the second row, is Didier Pironi. Those lights will flash. We're waiting for all the cars in the background to come up, and then the lights will go, and the tension is rising as ever. Watch the lights, the red, and then the green, and then the 70-lap Canadian Grand Prix will be well and truly on. It seems a long time. It's go. And Piquet's pulling across in front of Pironi, and Jones is round in front of him, and it's It's a multiple crash already on the first lap, and Piquet's off. The rest of them are streaming through. Jones is away, and in the lead, and in the background, Rosberg. And there's the Candy Tyrrell car of Jarier. And Daly's out. Daly's out for the 4th race in succession. And there is Villeneuve's car. Gilles Villeneuve, and Piquet is definitely out of the race. Now, are they going to stop the race?
Yeah, Murray, the track looks pretty well blocked. They're never going to move all those cars in time. Too many rescue vehicles. They're going to have to stop this race, which, of course, because the race won't have completed a lap, means that the whole thing, there's Emerson Fittipaldi getting out. He was in there as well. There's Villeneuve just trotting away from his car. But that means, of course, that the race nowadays, since 76 when they changed the rules, can start again completely. It's completely ignored. Here's Jones cruising around. The red and the yellow and the oil flags crossed means that the race has been stopped. They'll find a red flag at the start-finish line. All the drivers know.
Well, the interesting thing is going to be, what are they going to do about T-cars? There is Villeneuve running, there's Jarier running back, and Daly and Fittipaldi. Now, most of the teams have got spare cars. Is Alan Jones's car damaged? Piquet will certainly have to go out in the T-car. That's assuming all the drivers are okay. We don't know for sure yet that they are. We haven't heard any news that there's any driver problems. But we do know, as the drivers come in, the ones that are left, to reform, that Piquet is certainly in trouble with his car. Now, let's look again.
Yeah, we've got a replay here. Now, Piquet didn't make that good a start, which would have helped. Pironi is storming through on the inside of him. Piquet moves to block that, which he does very well. Jones is about level with him. Now, Pironi is locked out, and Jones is really squeezing Piquet because he wants to line up for the left-hander that follows this little right-hand kink. And there's Jones's car in the lead, weaving about all over the place. He and Piquet have definitely made contact, right? Piquet's gone out of control, and then, of course, people start anchoring up behind. Bits flying off the cars all over the place, but to me, it was, although we didn't actually see it, it looked pretty clear that Jones and Piquet had made contact there, just out of our shot, and as they came into view, they were both wobbling as a result of that contact. Jones managed to keep it all together and get going. Piquet started bouncing on the wall, and all the problems that follow on with people anchoring up and other cars going over each other.
And I saw Mario Andretti's car in problems there. Number 11, Mario Andretti. Both the Candy Tyrrell cars out, the Ferrari out, Piquet's car out. So it's a real multiple pile-up. And look at the mayhem there. Now, there's going to be a long, long delay while they clear those wrecked cars out of the way, get the people in the T-cars and back into the race.
Yes, as I understand it, Murray, they are now... here we have another look at the accident again. Again, you see Piquet snake a little bit, goes to block Pironi. Jones and he are absolutely level. Jones slightly having the advantage. There they are, there's the touch. Jones's car weaving about the place. Watson comes through okay there. And Piquet hits the wall. Oh, what a mess. Still, they can all go in their T-cars now. The rule's been changed. This race is as if it's never happened, so Piquet has this second chance now, and of course all the other people who had damaged cars, to get out in their spare cars and start the race absolutely clean, because the rules ignore it.
And that's Mario Andretti's very, very broken motor car. And now, 40 minutes later, the debris has been cleared away. The circuit is clear. It's ready for racing again. The drivers are out in the T-cars, all of which, of course, have been properly set up in practice. There was a problem, we thought, over Piquet's elbow, but it's apparently all right. And now we're waiting for the second start of the 1980 Canadian Grand Prix. In the middle, Piquet. On the right, Jones. On the left, Pironi. For the second time, go. Now, Pironi tries. Pironi's ahead of Piquet. Jones goes ahead of Piquet. And Alan Jones is leading on lap 1. It's a clean start this time. They're all away. Rosberg last. Jones streaming away. And in second place, it's Didier Pironi in the Ligier. In third place, it's Nelson Piquet in the Brabham. In fourth place, it's Giacomelli, the young Italian in the Alfa Romeo. So Jones, Pironi. There is Piquet. In fourth place is Giacomelli. In fifth place is Reutemann. In sixth place is John Watson in the McLaren, who was great in practice, seventh fastest. There he is. In eighth place is Hector Rybak. And Alan Jones now is leading on the first lap with another 69 laps in front of him and in command.
Yes, absolutely perfect situation for Alan Jones. He's got Pironi between him and Piquet, which is exactly how he wants it. He'd sooner have more, but he did well at seeing that Piquet had the pole. And he's now got to hope that Piquet, of course, will be feeling things out a bit, because he's out in his spare car, which he may well not have done a lot of mileage in practice, just checked it out and had it set up. But he'll start to get going as his tyres warm up. In the meantime, Jones will be taking it pretty steady, because he's the one who's protecting the lead, feeling it out, whilst trying to build what he can before Piquet gets past Pironi, if he's going to be able to do that.
Well, Didier Pironi, the man who is going to Ferrari next year, in second place, but Piquet now right with him, with the nose of the Brabham tucked under the rear wing as they go into lap 2 of the Ligier, and Piquet closing right up on Didier Pironi, the man who won the Belgian Grand Prix. And Piquet is challenging. He looks as though he's got the legs of Pironi. He's challenging as they come down to the fastest part, and he's up into second place. A beautiful